Snacking Out the Podcast's college football wrap-up is brought to you by Doyle Hardgrave Construction, and also by $8 a month auto insurance.
Less than $100 a year, but we still got you covered.
And now, Smacking Off's college football wrap-up with your host, Shannon Madden.
And welcome back to Smacking Off the Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Madden. I'm joined with Doug Phillips, my co-host and producer, and fellow Alabama fan. You want to talk about it?
Did you watch any football this weekend?
No, I didn't watch anything. I was going to watch the Bama LSU game, but I fell asleep.
I watched a big one. Hattiesburg, Mississippi. UAB scored
Man, I don't
two
want to talk
fucking
about that
points.
fucking shit either, dude. God damn it. 2 points.
2 points.
2 points. That's the best that Bill Clark could do for me. Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know what his contract calls for at UAB, but he's gonna be on the way out pretty soon. Probably headed to Arkansas. Chad Morris was without a job tonight.
It's a true story.
Very, very, very horrible loss that Arkansas suffered to Western Kentucky. A good Western Kentucky team, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, that's just not supposed to happen. An SEC team should never, not even Vanderbilt should lose to Western Kentucky, particularly as bad as they did.
I'm not sure that Vanderbilt would lose to Western Kentucky, or did they play? I don't know. Maybe I'm saying something incorrect, but
they played Florida, I think. Oh, well, excuse me, Florida played them.
Yeah, they played them like a fucking.
Yeah, they beat the dog shit out of them.
Yep.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's still Vanderbilt. Derek Mason will probably be without a job soon. There's lots of room on Saban's staff for former head coaches, though. I think Chad Morris will probably wind up there.
Possibly.
Derek Mason, I don't know. I don't know if we got a spot for Derek or not. Let's talk about some of these games for a moment. Ohio State just completely skull-fucked Maryland.
Look, I'm getting a lot of resistance on this. I do not think... Obviously, Alabama, I don't think, would beat Ohio State. And I'm hearing people saying that they would. And I do not believe LSU would beat Ohio State either. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the eye test, Ohio State looks like they're for real in a way that I've never seen before out of those guys.
Ohio State has won every single game this particular season by 24 points or more.
Yep.
And there's a couple decent opponents in that listing too. So yeah, that's I don't know. That's going to be tough for any team to overcome. I don't know. We'll talk about a little bit more about the Big Ten here in a minute. Of course, LSU had a very dominant performance against Alabama, even though that final score doesn't suggest that.
Clemson Dane's in the house.
Clemson Dane, what up?
Clemson Dane. How are we coming through on this?
Clemson came through great.
The video looks fine to me. I'm not able to hear the audio.
I think
how do we sound, Clemson?
I think we sound great. I
mean, we do from my end.
Yeah. Also, Clemson destroyed NC State 55-10.
Yep.
I think you had possibly alluded to the fact that this one could possibly be a trap game for Clemson. But
no, I didn't. It was the guy that was picking.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No,
easily pushed.
I really don't know anything about NC State. I mean, even Dane was like, it wouldn't totally shock him if it happened, but no, Clemson took care of business.
Yeah.
Little crackle sounds good, though. We always got a little crackle. Do we not?
Yeah, a little bit. That's kind of part of our aesthetic.
That's part of our legend.
Part of
that crackle.
Yeah. Minnesota is for real. I don't know. Did you watch much of that game yesterday?
I did. I don't know.
Watch the second half. Minnesota looked really good against Penn State.
I don't know how for real that Penn State is. If I knew that, then I could tell you how for real. I don't think that Minnesota will compete with Ohio State, but I can be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. Minnesota seemed to be pushing Penn State around quite a bit in that second half, though. Even though it was a final score in the end, Minnesota showed them that they're there to play some football.
UJ and the Missouri Tigers.
That
was a boring game.
Yeah, Uga blanked the Tigers. Uga didn't really put up a whole hell of a lot of offense, but they didn't really need any. They could have just kicked a field goal and won that game.
Oklahoma made Iowa State their fucking bitch.
Sort of. Yeah, maybe. I guess not so much. 42-41. Actually, that was a nail biter. I don't know if you follow Timothy Bailey on Facebook, but that was just the whole course of that game was pretty hilarious. He was upset.
Yep, and Florida finally got it going against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it took them a minute, but they cruised to a 56-0, just complete dominant ass whipping. Some other games of note: undefeated Baylor took them 3 overtimes, so they finally beat TCU. God bless them.
I picked TCU to win the game. I still feel good about the pick, even though it didn't happen.
Well, I mean, it took them 3
Baylor,
overtimes to beat TCU. So yeah, that would have been a solid pick.
Baylor will not compete with Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I don't think they will. Wisconsin, Iowa.
Wisconsin's still hanging around. Jonathan Taylor continues to break running back records left and right, and I think that's what kind of keeps Wisconsin in any kind of conversation right now. Notre Dame handled Duke handily.
Yep.
Texas 27-24 against Kansas State.
Which
is Kansas State a team to look out for next year? Perhaps,
but
I don't know who they're returning, but apparently there's something going right at K-State now.
Have you heard any of the talk around? Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but somebody of the Auburn persuasion had made a comment earlier that if Alabama gets into the CFP, then it's rigged. That Oklahoma should get in before Alabama does. Let me tell you something about Oklahoma. Quality of loss. Mm-hmm. Remember those words. Kansas State, which was looking pretty good with 2 losses until they lost to Texas.
Yeah, they're still struggling.
You're talking about
bowl eligible.
They lost to a 3-loss team. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Bama will walk in over Oklahoma with the same record.
Oh yeah. No 2 ways around it. Even if Oklahoma does win the Big 12, which I don't know what that's worth these days.
Now, do I want Bama in the playoffs? I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. All these people that are saying that Bama will definitely not get in the playoffs, don't set yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah, I'm just going to be cautiously optimistic at this point. We still have a very important Iron Bowl that we have to play this year.
Oh, and Bama fans, I want to
dictate our future there.
I want to go ahead and rally the Gumps behind this effort here. We've got to pull for Auburn to stomp a mud hole in Georgia's ass, because that's gonna put Bama in a really high profile Iron Bowl, which, like my dad said, well, if Auburn beats Georgia, then how do we know Alabama can beat them? That doesn't matter. If Alabama can't beat Auburn, they don't need to go anyway. I mean, it's all over with anyway. There's nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
But and a lot of people are going to start in with the 9 wins. Auburn will have 9 wins. I got news for you. Malzahn is going to beat you guys to the punch. He's gonna hightail it out before he gets fired.
You think he's headed to Arkansas?
I do.
Really?
I do.
Well, yeah. I mean, that has to be a really frustrating situation to coach a football team that you don't know whether that week or not, depending on how you show, even if it's a win. If you're going to have a job or not. And that's really been the narrative down at Auburn for a while, and I think that's what's going to prevent them from getting that top-tier, high-powered coach to come there, because, their boosters have pretty much run that program almost into the ground with the micromanagement going all the way back to Tommy Tuberville's Jetgate.
Corey Green in the house, I just wanted to mention, and he was on the cast last week, did an excellent job.
Excellent job. And unfortunately, our segment got cut off in the middle of it, which really sucked, because that was the segment that both Doug and myself have been looking for all year long, to get Shannon Russell on here and talk about it.
We could have revived the segment, but being on a schedule like we were, it was like by the time we get this revived, it'll be time for the show to be over.
And for anybody listening, if you did not listen to last week's episode, you need to get back to YouTube and pull it up. It is hilarious from start to finish. It's a really good episode.
With mouths on, water seeks its own level. Seek it on level. What?
That's like, that kind of reminds me of, what was Chip from Talladega Nights.
Chip. I like old Chip.
Yeah, old Chip. Old Chip and his sayings about the something about the hoot owl sees at night or some shit like that.
It was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Bruce, what's going on, Bruce?
So what other games did we not cover? Virginia Tech beat Wake Forest, which was a little bit of a surprise. Wake Forest was the only other ACC team ranked.
In Cincinnati, are we Are we headed toward a Memphis? I don't really know what the divisions are in American, but I'm trying to. I could pull it up, but do we really want to?
No, I mean they're not going to be in the CFP.
Could we be headed
for
for a Cincinnati Memphis title game in that conference? That would be
That'd be a hell of a game.
Now they may be in the same division. If they are, then they should have played each other already, and I don't remember them playing each other.
Yeah, we got to give AAC the props right now because they have 4 teams in the top 25, and I think that's rather unprecedented. And we can thank UCF for that. I think I brought this up on the podcast the other night. UCF started that whole Power 6 conference conversation, and sure enough, now we have a 6th conference that is showing or fielding teams in the top 25 pretty regularly now.
It's not a bad conference.
UCF is not one of those teams.
Not right now.
UCF lost
to
embarrassingly the other night
to the mighty Tulsa Golden Hurricanes.
Yeah, that should not have happened to a team that purports
they're
to
down.
be. They're way down. But luckily, let's go ahead and pull this other graphic up right here.
This right here is from last week, and I just want to say that I made this last Sunday in the daytime before we could even do the podcast. Taggart was gone.
Yeah.
And before we could do the next podcast, Chad Morris is gone. And neither one of them made it through their second season.
So do we have left Clay Helton and Scott Frost. Scott Frost we were actually talking about off air.
He's not going this year.
No.
I just thought I'd throw it, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this in. But
if there's no improvement next year at Nebraska, though, don't think for a second they won't dump him before the end of the season.
Muschamp. Does he make it in the next season? I don't think he does.
That was a really, really, really inexplicable loss.
But they were good. I mean, Appalachian State's good. That's the problem is that...
Yeah, but this is a team that just beat Georgia a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And then, I don't care how good App State is. Come on, man. That's not supposed to happen to any SEC team.
Is Derek Mason doing enough to stay at Vanderbilt?
No. He didn't even score a single point against Florida. And, this is a very good Florida team, but still didn't score a single point.
Yep.
And Vanderbilt had hired Derek Mason. Of course, now he was the replacement for James Franklin, who's at Penn State now. And they hired him with the anticipation that he would at least achieve the same level that James Franklin had gotten them to.
Yep.
That's not happening.
Kevin Sumlin.
Still too early to tell for him.
4 and 5 though. This is supposed to be the quarterback was supposed to be great. I mean, they started the season losing to Hawaii. They've won a few games here and there, but they've still got 5.
And Hawaii's up this year. To be fair,
I think he does go into the next season, but man, his seat is heating up. And Malzahn. I mean, this is
Malzahn's seat for the moment. Historically, Malzahn's seat has been a lot hotter than it is right now.
Here's the thing: if he beats Alabama, I don't think it matters. I think he's going to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Which does not speak well for him beating Alabama because he's going to have other things on his mind. And even if all his mind is on that game, he's probably still not going to win that game. But right now he's sitting right outside the top 10. If he beats Georgia, which I don't think will happen, but I'm definitely pulling for them for Bama's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to be right up there in the top 10 again. If they beat Alabama, all his problems are over for this year. But if they lose to Alabama, even with 3 losses, I don't know. I mean, they've already whittled his buyout down, so they're ready to make a move.
Yeah, and the thing is if he gets hired at Arkansas, then the buyout's not really that big of an issue.
Yep.
So there's that to consider too. So I don't know. I mean, but who does Auburn get? They get Will Muschamp.
There you go.
I mean, that's about a sideways move these days.
Two had a great game. The 2 turnovers, notwithstanding, he had more yards and touchdowns than Burrow. Yeah, I still think Bama gets in. They might. Corey, he was 21 for 40, not as good as the numbers look.
Well, no, I mean, there was a first.
He looked like total dog shit.
There was first half Tua, which was the Tua that had not practiced, that was rusty as shit, had just barely started throwing the ball for the preceding few days before the game. It's That kind of is what it is. I can't really make any excuses there because it was so weird for the guy that actually kind of started Alabama's collapse in the first half was the one that brought them back in the second half. When he dropped that ball, when he straight just actually just threw the ball away from him when he tripped, that right there set the whole chain of events that began the collapse of Alabama in the first half. And then, of course, you saw what he was able to do in the second half, which, is a bulk of his stats.
Dane, let's throw your hat into the ring. I would feel a lot better every year knowing that you were coaching Auburn, so that we know that Alabama would kick their fucking ass.
We're gonna start a Clemson Dane to Auburn.
I'm for it. Corey Green, unpopular opinion: Bama wins if Mac Jones starts at quarterback yesterday. I'm not willing to go that far, but you're dead right on the mistakes. Alabama lost the game in the first half.
Yes.
They could not do enough to overcome the bullshit that they pulled in the first half. And here's one to think about. The second half, Bama, 4th and inches, and they call a play out of the shotgun. LSU's ready. You line that motherfucker up under center, and you surge that shit. And if you can't get it, you didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
But don't run. I mean, Saban knows better than that. He definitely knows better than that. I don't know if it was one of those deals where he didn't.
Was that a Sarkisian call, maybe?
Maybe, but Saban, he's a micromanager. He knew what was being called. Mm-hmm. Sarkisian must have thought that running a draw was going to work. I don't think so.
Kind of draw them off balance a little bit, and they were able to eat in.
It didn't work because LSU was prepared for them to line up under center and try to surge that shit. And so they were all there, but we only needed a few inches. So,
yeah.
Bruce, I agree with this too.
I got your few inches right here.
Yes, sir. All right. You ready to do this thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
This week's Life Championships Top Contenders is brought to you by Bad Month Tires, cuz who the fuck can afford Goodyear? Those fuckers are expensive as shit. And also by Dr. Thunder, not nearly as good as Dr. Pepper, but a whole hell of a lot cheaper. And now, our champions of life for this week.
All right.
Oh, I thought this was the list was just going to run through, and then we're going to. Okay.
Oh no!
So we're doing this in real time.
We're going to do this shit in real fucking time. You want to start back here?
Yeah, let's start with number 6.
Number 6.
What's number 6?
It's probably this one.
That one, yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, your number 6 Life Championship contender for this week is your Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Sean Devine.
Yes, sir. All right, number 5. No. Number 5, the mighty Texas Longhorns.
Timothy Bailey's Texas Longhorns. He's a huge Longhorn fan.
Mm-hmm.
Horns up, not down. Don't get in trouble, boys.
All right. Speaking of Timothy Bailey.
Timothy Bailey's.
Coming in at number 4, the Sooners of Oklahoma.
Sooners. Oklahoma Sooners had a very weird showing yesterday against Iowa State. A game that they normally usually kind of roll through a little bit. But, yeah, it was a nail-biter.
All right. Number 3. Mr. Alex Bryan's favorite team.
Yeah.
The Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, yeah. Old booger. Jim Harbaugh's still there.
Yep.
That is still happening. Big Ten, you can rest easy tonight.
Number 2. And I really thought that this team would hit number 1 this week. I think we can thank Kyle Golick. Golick did not have them in his top 4.
Who is it?
It's the
Man,
Alabama,
shut the fuck up. Oh, no.
the Alabama Crimson Tide.
They just lost to the number 2 team in the country, and they've still got a chance at the playoffs, and they're in the fucking life championship. Are you fucking serious? Oh, my God.
It's just a week. It's a weekday, man.
Yeah, fuck it.
All right, and your number 1 live contender for week, this is week 12 now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're at week 12, shit. Is the Nittany Lions of Penn State.
Yeah. Nittany Lions lost against Minnesota and made Minnesota look like a contender, a playoff contender.
Yeah. They may be.
Yeah. Penn State definitely had, I don't think too many people expected they were going to get this far in the season and be undefeated, but now they're not. So there you go. There's your life championship right there. Any questions or comments, you direct them somewhere else because I don't have anything to do with it. I just deliver the news here.
I do not.
I'm not a voter.
I don't have the voter image on here. Do you want me to stick it on here real quick?
Yeah, let's stick the voter image. If you're looking for the people to get upset about, if you're a fan of any of these fan bases,
Well, give me a second.
then you can look these motherfuckers up right here. We'll go ahead and give you their face, so in case you see them out in public, you can beat the dog shit out of them.
Oh,
We don't recommend that you beat the dog shit out of anybody because that can get you in trouble with the law. But if nobody's around and you get away with it, have at it.
Definitely go after that fucker Piggy Doms. Piggy Doms almost didn't make the vote this week. The only voter that didn't make the vote this week was Sky Anastasian. I think ever since Utah has got back in the top 10, he's been celebrating and he's forgetting.
Yeah,
to
he's
vote.
on a pink cloud right now. Sky Anastasian's definitely on a pink cloud.
Yep.
All right, well, there you have it.
We going.
Bask in all its glory. And look very hard because Alabama's not going to be there very long.
They might. They
Nah,
might not.
shh.
Let me tell you something. The only thing that can save Alabama from winning this is those committee members. And Alabama. Alabama's got to win out. Alabama getting in, I think they're in the best shape of any team that does not control its own destiny.
Yes. I think so. And really it depends largely on LSU continuing to win, which they have a pretty soft last final 3 games.
Yep.
I believe their toughest opponent they have coming up is Texas A&M.
Georgia could throw a monkey wrench into the whole motherfucker.
Could very well. I don't know. It's still a very treacherous dance that we're dancing.
You ready to go to a commercial? And when we come back, we're gonna do an epic smack battle.
Yeah. We actually have probably I guess is he our reigning champion? Paul Garner.
Maybe.
Nobody's beat him yet.
If we had a thing called a reigning champion, he would be it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's the yeah. We need to come up with that. We need our own championship belt here on.
That D is legit. I like
SmackDown.
Uga over LSU too. Oh shit, Corey.
Shannon
no.
Russell just
that's-
predicted Uga would win over LSU. Excellent,
Corey, you
excellent.
do realize that Bama needs LSU to win, right?
Yes, Bama does need LSU to win out.
I really believe that.
Yes.
The quality of loss takes a major hit if LSU gets upset.
I don't know though, but there's still.
Well, first off, that and LSU probably still gets in if they have a close loss to Georgia.
But that also requires everybody that's in the top, the top 10 to pretty much remain kind of sort of where they're at. And we know that's going to be impossible because a few of these teams are going to face one another. And a few of these teams have some pretty tough matchups coming up, particularly the ones that are going to be gunning for their conference championships.
Yep. All right, you ready
Go
to
to commercial.
Let's do it.
You know, if you were to follow a busy doctor as he makes his daily round of calls, you'd find yourself having a mighty busy time keeping up with him. Time out for many men of medicine usually means just long enough to enjoy a cigarette. And because they know what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette, they're particular about the brand they choose. In a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, What cigarette do you smoke, Doctor? Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Why not change to Camels for the next 30 days and see what a difference it makes in your smoking enjoyment? See how Camels agree with your throat. See how mild and good tasting a cigarette can be.
Pepsi-Cola, it's the pot, 12 ounces, that's a lot, twice as much more nickels do. Pepsi-Cola is the drink for you. Nickel, 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 nickel.
Hello, I'm Bud Wilkinson, football coach at the University of Oklahoma. I'd like to talk to Bob and Sally here and to youngsters and parents everywhere about a very serious problem. Studies show that 4 out of 5 school children today do not get a nutritionally proper breakfast, and many eat none at all. Now, as a coach, I know how impossible it is for anyone to do his best, mentally or physically, without a good breakfast to start the day, especially you growing youngsters.
But what do you call a good breakfast, Coach?
Well, Bobby, here's what experts call ideal. Fruit, a cereal like oatmeal, milk, bread, and butter. That way you get up to 1/3 of your day's protein, plus important vitamins and minerals. It's a perfect breakfast for everyone.
But I thought oatmeal was for little kids.
Little kids, Sally? Well, oatmeal is the favorite cereal of our football players, and those little kids average 190 pounds and 6 feet tall.
Gee, Coach, that's good enough for me. Me too.
And welcome back to Smacking Off the Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Madden. I'm joined with Doug Phillips, my co-host and producer. And we are joined with two frequent contributors to the show. Mr. Alex Bryan, Ohio State fan. What's up, Alex?
No, hell no. That's absolutely little Buckeye. That's who that is. Don't call him Mr. Alex Bryan. That's absolutely little Buckeye.
And of course, to anybody who's ever listened to the show, you know who that is. That's Paul Garner, Tennessee and ball fan.
Hell yeah, I done told you. I'm absolutely like a goddamn bull in his chute, just slobbering. I'm slobbering around, goddamn it, the truck's just slobbering back and forth. Just turn it, absolutely open chute, turn it loose right now. Turn it loose, by God.
All right, Alex?
What's up?
Well,
what do y'all want to talk about tonight?
Well, I absolutely got about 8 or 10 things I want to talk about.
All right, let's do it.
Well, here we go again. We got one that wants to run that mouth. He gets on here, goddamn it, they shut up. Well, I'll just tell it. You want me to start it off? You want me to kick this goddamn game off?
Go ahead, do it, Paul. It's all you, baby.
Do you want me to kick it off? Doug, do you want me to kick it off?
Well, beforehand,
I'll kick it some, but no, hell no. You had your chance, little Buckeye. I'll kick it.
When did I have my chance?
Goddamn.
You've been fucking eating the mic this whole time, bro. When have I had a chance to talk?
You know what it is?
Do you know how debating works?
Absolutely done had enough of it. I done
you know how
had
debating
enough of
works?
these goddamn Big Ten fans, these goddamn Pac-12 fans,
You can hear both
these
of them very well.
goddamn
That's
Big
awesome.
12 fans,
somebody
these
get this guy
ACC
lawful,
fans.
bro.
Hey, we can-
Fucking
That way
goddamn
it has something
jealous.
to do
We can hear both of you guys.
Yeah, we can hear y'all just fine.
Of a goddamn SEC.
Why
You
would I be
motherfuckers
jealous?
Can't beat us. Y'all never could goddamn beat us. And now goddamn it, it's over. You can't never beat the goddamn SEC. We own
can?
you motherfuckers, and we always own you goddamn motherfuckers.
Are you sure?
You hear me?
Are you sure?
Motherfucker, you run your goddamn mouth in 1996 when you brought in.
Is this how he massacres people? He just eats the mic the whole time?
Pretty much, yeah.
What Tennessee do? We beat the goddamn hell out of you. And what did Florida do when you run your goddamn mouth? Florida beat the goddamn hell out of you.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Everybody else is accomplished.
Any goddamn postseason, motherfucker. You ain't nothing but a goddamn bitch. The Big Ten's a bitch, and the SEC owns you, motherfuckers. Now, what you gonna say, motherfucker? I'll smack your goddamn teeth out.
Oh my God.
Alex, go.
Did you like it? Now, hey, Doug,
do you want to eat another piece of your mic?
You know what I just done, Doug?
What'd you do?
You sound hungry.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
Doug, you know what I just done? I just come out of the chute and absolutely throwed that goddamn little buckeye plumb up in the goddamn stand. Now, goddamn it, now, you want me to tell you the truth about something? I'll tell you the truth about something.
All right.
In 1997, the goddamn gravy ended for the Big Ten. When the BCS started in 1998, there was no goddamn more gravy for the Big Ten. They couldn't run off the goddamn and play the goddamn in the Rose Bowl. Oh, we gonna go to the Rose Bowl. We gonna go to Granddaddy. We ain't gonna play these goddamn Southern teams. We gonna go to the Rose Bowl. Well, goddamn it, when the BCS hit 1998, they told you, motherfuckers, you gonna play these goddamn Southern teams, and if you don't, you ain't gonna win the goddamn title no goddamn more. And ever since the 1998, and by the way, when the Tennessee Vols won every goddamn bit of it.
Only because they didn't play the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Shut up, motherfucker. Shut up, you stupid little bitch. Shut up. And since 1998,
I don't think I have a choice.
Goddamn,
hey, we can hear you.
We can hear you fine, Bob.
National championships since 1998, when they had to play the SEC, when they had to play the Southern teams, add up the national championships since 1998 to right now. It ain't even close. It ain't even goddamn close. It is absolutely a Mike Tyson 20-second
when Mike
knockout.
Slive works with the BCS. I mean,
Doug.
Yay.
Doug.
Yay.
Doug.
We're here.
Doug. Hey, Doug, let me eat my mic, Doug. I'm not done eating my mic, Doug. Hey, Doug. Hey, Doug. Digga. I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna rake my dog in the ass. Digga. Hey, I'm gonna go hunt some squirrels after this podcast. I'm gonna go hunt some squirrels after this podcast.
And Big Ten's a bitch.
Yo, what has Tennessee done lately?
They won that one game.
Didn't even want your stupid programs out. Lane Kiffin didn't even want you. Lane Kiffin let you high and dry.
All you gotta do is add them up.
Derek Dooley?
Yep, we're at him up right now. We got.
Let me get my calculator. Hold on.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
I'm getting my calculator. Hold up.
Hey, move the decimal. Move the decimal.
What has Tennessee done for you lately?
And I'm gonna tell you what.
You got to set the decimal,
I'm gonna
Doug.
bring another motherfucker in here, Doug. I'm gonna bring another motherfucker in here. Shane Devine. Now let me tell you something about Shane Devine.
Are you gonna bring in your
Shut
wife?
up! I don't even want to hear about that goddamn little Buckeye. That little Buckeye done got
Bro, everything you're spewing right now is equivalent to what your mascot shits out all over your fucking field, you fat piece of fucking shit. Pillsbury Doughboy having ass.
You lost.
You lost! Bro, I bet you this fat piece of shit. I bet you this fat piece of shit holds on to that 1990 whatever win against us, against John Cooper. Of all coaches. Is that all you got? Is that all you say? You goddamn bitch? Is that all you got? Man, you are the weakest person I've ever debated. You are the weakest person I've ever debated.
I had no idea.
You're so good. You're pathetic. Add it up, motherfucker. I'll add up everything Tennessee's done, and it doesn't equate to what we've done.
If you add them up, you lose, motherfucker. So add them up.
Add them up.
You lose.
Add
So
'em up.
shut up, motherfucker. Now, I want to talk about Shane Devine.
Sean Devine.
Doug.
Yay.
I want to talk about Shane Devine. Let me
All
tell
right,
you something
all
about
right,
Shane
let's do
Devine. Notre Dame fella.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you one thing right now.
Frequent contributor, Sean Devine.
Shane Devine's a good fella.
He is.
I tell you what, that son of a bitch is a good man, and I think the world of him. And you hear me? And
Alex.
Notre Dame
And he knows your
is
program.
absolutely, hold on.
I've been on
Notre
this
Dame
entire
is
time, you fat
absolutely
fuck.
one of the greatest goddamn programs ever was. But he himself knows that he hates the fucking SEC just because we kick him goddamn Northern fucking team's ass. That's why he hates them. But you know what? His goddamn Yankee
The
little
South will rise
Buckeye,
again.
he done got on a goddamn Tennessee tornado and he got his ass whooped. That's how it is.
I did? I got my ass whooped?
What? That's right, you got your goddamn ass whooped. If you was in front of me, I'd whoop your goddamn ass.
I'm sure you would.
It ain't goddamn that hard to whoop no goddamn Yankee.
Okay. I mean, if this is what you call beating somebody down,
Alex, are you a carpetbagger?
eating your mic.
Yeah, we don't allow Yankee carpetbaggers.
We don't know
on the
scallywags or
show.
carpetbaggers on here.
You are 5-11 against the SEC in postseason.
What is a
You are
scallywag?
5-11. And Doug,
Alex, what's a scallywag?
Go Google it.
Google scallywag.
If you count current SEC teams, we are 22-13-3 against the SEC. We're doing just fine.
Against the SEC. You are 5-11 in the postseason against the SEC. It's over. I don't even want to fucking hear that. You know, motherfucker. Because it's over for your goddamn ass.
Your program can't even beat Purdue or Penn State. We at least have a win against them.
Hey, they want to talk about the Big Ten and dog SEC, but then they want to talk about Tennessee because we down. But the only goddamn time
Yeah, don't bring up Georgia State, please.
Ohio State.
I'm not gonna be one of those idiots that conference nut right. I don't care what my program is.
George and Tennessee stomped Ohio State's ass.
Stopped Ohio State. You won by 6, you fat piece of shit. Against John Cooper. John Cooper, who's 3-8 in bowl games. But you want to brag about that? Meet us on the field now, boy. Meet us on the field right now.
He will meet you on the field right now.
You
I
would
guarantee
get
that.
shit stomped,
He's ready.
bro.
He-
Your team would have no chance.
You got him worked
It'd be
out,
over in the
Alex.
first
What did you
quarter.
do? This is
It
your
would be
fault.
over in the first quarter.
Hey, but we played you and we stomped your ass.
Oh my God! Stop playing a 6-point win.
And you know what? And you know what?
Okay, all right.
And you know what?
Okay.
We played Michigan.
Alex is already doing better than
Bro, you sound like dogs at the bounty hunter.
And you can hear him.
All you gotta do is
Oh
arm up.
my God!
All you gotta
I feel
do
like
is
everybody
arm
that's
up.
gone up against Paul Garner learned a lot from that
All you gotta do is
JPC.
add him up. He's trying to make fun
I
of
can't
all
find
you
my
gotta do is add 'em
calculator.
up.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is add them up.
Add him up,
And
Alex.
you lose every fucking time when you add them up. You lose every motherfucking time when
Every
you add them up.
motherfucking time.
So what the fuck are you talking about?
Alex.
You lose every motherfucking time when you add them up. So shut the fuck up. That's all you can do, motherfucker.
I mean, that's all I can do because you're too busy eating your mic.
Well, I mean, you need to eat your mic too, Alex. I mean, you know, you need to step up.
I would have to eat my laptop at that point. Jesus Christ.
I mean, you might have to do that too.
Every motherfucking time we add this shit up, you lose. Every motherfucking time. So what are you talking about?
Because against current SEC teams, we have a winning record. So that's not exactly good.
Motherfucker, because you lose.
I'm not on it, friend. I'm not on it,
So
friend.
now I'm absolutely 3-0. And you go get you another
Oh, you're claiming victories now?
Yeah.
Are you claiming now? Just like
That's how it works here. You either claim victory or you don't here on Smacking Off the podcast.
Now.
The only thing you've won is another life championship, bud.
And you know what?
The only thing you've won is another life championship, bud. That's all Tennessee wins. Tennessee doesn't win any title of any kind anymore.
They won that last championship that one
And
year.
actually,
them goddamn Chiefs ass too.
And actually,
we them goddamn Chiefs
and
ass.
actually,
So
your team doesn't even qualify to be a life champion because they can't even get 8 wins. Your team sucks.
Some goddamn real shit.
That is real shit. Your team is horrible. One kid didn't want you.
Every motherfucking time we add it up, all Doug's got to do is
every fucking time.
If I can find my calculator,
So you can't stand it. You can't stand it, motherfucker.
I can't stand it because I know right now if Tennessee had the balls to step on the field with the Ohio State Buckeyes, he would rape you.
The SEC is college football.
The SEC is not college football. Because guess what? Guess who you're going to see at the top at the end of this year? You're going to see the Scarlet and Gray. The Scarlet and Gray, brother. We actually can beat LSU. We actually can beat LSU, but that's okay.
I think Ohio State can beat
I'll tell
LSU.
you what.
I really do.
Wake
I think
me
that's gonna
up
be a good
when
game if
Tennessee
that
decides
does
they
come
want to play in a
about.
playoff. Wake me up. I'll be sleepwalk.
Go ahead.
What you got, Paul? Paul, what you got?
I gotta ask you a favor, Doug.
Let's do it.
Now, since this dumb shit's over, I gotta ask you a favor.
I'm surprised you hadn't had a stroke.
I want you to do me a favor.
All right.
You know old Teddy Shackelford?
Yeah.
Well, he's absolutely my buddy. And by God, I want to get on the show with him. Will you do it?
I don't know if Teddy's gonna come back on the show.
What do you mean you don't know Teddy?
Well, there was a little problem with us and Teddy, I'm afraid. Teddy actually was involved or remotely involved with trying to help take our group down, so I don't know if Teddy's...
No shit.
Yeah, Derek King is not my Facebook friend.
Teddy Shacklesworth is Derek King.
Yes.
If you ever see Derek King...
Derek King's a goddamn idiot.
I think so.
And I've already done whooped him 1, 2, 3 fucking times.
Oh, by the way, Teddy Shacklesworth is Derek King. So.
Yeah. Teddy Shacklesworth is Derek King.
No.
True story.
Now look, now you know you two son of bitches, I think the world of y'all. Are you telling me the truth?
No, we're definitely telling you the truth. It was we actually did an episode about it, kind of like a special episode, kind of letting the other smack groups know who was involved in it, so they could kind of steer clear from them. But yeah, he was all up in the middle of it.
So Caddyshack is goddamn it, a Derek King stupid motherfucker.
Pretty much, yes. That's correct.
I call him Caddyshack. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, you gotta be. That is absolutely done pissed me the fuck plumb off.
If you see him, just pop him upside the head for me, if you would, please.
Well, if you can drag that guy, I'll tell you one goddamn thing right now. If you can drag that nutless motherfucker on here, I will whoop his goddamn ass too. You hear me?
I mean,
Get his goddamn ass on it.
I'm actually all for that.
If you fucking shut up, you goddamn little buckeye bitch.
Yeah, shut up, Alex.
I'm waiting for you to run out of breath.
Alex, just hush now. Paul's talking.
Hey, well, goddamn, I'm gonna tell you, that's gonna make me. Anyway, now, hey, little buckeye, Alex, look here, buddy.
Look here, buddy.
Don't take nothing what I say personal. It's just all in fun. The Big Ten has a great tradition, and the Ohio State has a great tradition, buddy, and I understand that, and I respect that. I'm gonna stop right now, because I can't believe that you tell me that Teddy Shackelford's Derek King.
Yes. Teddy Shackelford.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it bullshit. Well, anyway, let's put all this shit behind. Tell me what y'all thought about the LSU Alabama game.
I didn't watch it. I'm not really a fan of either team.
Bullshit! You didn't watch it.
Yeah, it was. I
think Bama lost the game in the first half.
They did. They definitely lost the game in the first half. All you have to do is just take that drop pass that Tua pretty much threw in the LSU defender.
After halftime, LSU pulled a choke and let Alabama back into it. I feel like we all saw that coming in some way.
I don't feel like they pulled a choke. I think what happened was Alabama made the necessary adjustments on defense.
They did.
That
I'm not saying they didn't, but I'm just saying LSU talks about keeping their foot on Bama's throat, and then they just can't.
Well, I'll tell you one damn thing right now. That damn quarterback for LSU ain't no joke.
By the way, he's a former Buckeye.
Yeah, he is.
LSU fans, you are welcome.
That damn kid is hell. Well, you can believe that, and I'm gonna tell you what, LSU's a hell of a football team. I would have to say, and I'll be honest with you, and I'm gonna turn the pressure off a little buck owl there. I have to say, and I'll be honest with you, I think the two best teams in the country right now is Ohio State and LSU, and I believe that.
I do too.
I absolutely believe it 100%. Now, I will say this, Ohio State, little Buckeye fuck over there. I will say this. I don't think you can beat them. Hell fucking no, I don't. I don't think you can beat them.
By the way.
My God, you the only motherfucker that can beat them.
By the way.
Hold on before you say something stupid. Because I know how you Yankees are. You Yankees say shit stupid.
Sure.
I don't even like you.
I believe that you the only team that can beat them, and I will be pulling for you motherfuckers to beat them. Y'all thinking us SEC fans, hold on. Y'all think us SEC fans are just all about SEC, all about SEC. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I don't pull for no son of a bitch in the SEC but Tennessee. I don't pull for fucking Alabama. I don't pull for fucking Florida. I don't pull for fucking Georgia. And I don't pull for fucking LSU. I pull for Tennessee.
Hey, Paul, I'm the same way.
Breaking news, Paul Garner is not an SEC dick rider.
But you know the hypocrite shit about that? You know the goddamn hypocrite shit about that? The hypocrite shit about that is I hear all this shit, well, y'all SEC, but then in the bowl games, I have seen Ohio State fans pull for Michigan. I have seen Michigan fans pull for Ohio State. I've seen Oklahoma fans pull for Texas. I've seen Texas fans pull for Oklahoma. I've seen every goddamn bit of that.
I guarantee you've never seen Alex Bryan pull for Michigan.
No, y'all do the fucking same shit that y'all accuse us of doing. Y'all do the same goddamn shit, and you know you do. So goddamn it, I don't want to hear it no goddamn more. I don't want to hear no goddamn more. And,
Alex, you know what you did.
The SEC right now is the best fucking conference, and it has been the last 30 goddamn years. Now, that don't mean it will be the next 30, but the last goddamn 30, the SEC has been the best goddamn conference, so shut the fuck up about it. If you want to change it, hold up. If you want to change it, motherfucker, beat us, goddammit. Now, that's all I can say about that. Now,
Alex, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, you know what? When y'all get goddamn quiet, that means I don't whoop that goddamn ass.
This is the first time we've ever had a guest render Alex Bryan speechless.
I'm not speechless. I've had plenty to say.
Well, say it.
We can hear you.
You just got to keep talking, man.
I don't care about all that now. When I don't let the goddamn hammer down, I don't like about y'all. Doug, I don't like one thing about this show. When I lay the goddamn hammer down, y'all get quiet. Y'all get quiet. And
one of Paul's points earlier. One of Paul's points earlier is when you add it up, we lose. But the Big Ten has 41 national championships, and the SEC has 38. So you don't actually beat us in that. You actually don't beat us in that. And I will say that I have seen Wolverine fans and Buckeye fans root for the Big Ten and bowl games. But at the end of the day, the SEC is the most cock-riding conference in college football. It's proven. And that's all there is to say about it. Anything he says is literally equivalent to what comes out of his mascot's ass, which is shit.
In 1998, the gravy
he roots for a team that has no Heisman winners, that's barely been #1 in the poll, that's barely going to be bowl eligible this year if they can win their last two games.
You couldn't go no goddamn more.
He sits here and says, "Oh, I don't root for nobody in the SEC but Tennessee." That's not true because he spent this entire time yelling into the mic about how SEC you are.
The gravy was over after 1998.
No more gravy.
And they only won that national championship in 1998 because they didn't have to play. They didn't have to play
the SEC to win it.
And as bad as John Cooper was in bowl games, even John Cooper would have beaten Tennessee in 1998.
You got to play the SEC now, motherfucker.
We do.
Before you didn't.
and we'll be fine because we have the athletes. We have the athletes to feed you guys. You can't even beat Georgia State, bro. You can't even beat Georgia State. Not you.
Not Georgia, but Georgia State, right?
1998, add them up. Add them up since
Georgia State.
1998. I see that.
But you think you would be able to beat us?
Now you begging. They want to talk about Georgia State.
Bro,
I'll tell you one goddamn thing.
There's another thing. This man does not understand what the definition of the word beg means.
Hey, I tell you one goddamn thing. A son bitch comes to Knoxville at night now, you better pack your goddamn lunch. You better pack your
Begging means to ask somebody earnestly or humbly for something. Begging is not even the term you should be using. I get it's a southern thing that you don't know how to spell, read, or say words, right?
Let me tell you who knows that too.
But
Doug, the motherfuckers that run this show, Doug Phillips knows that. If you come to Knoxville at night now, you better pack your goddamn lunch. You better pack it, motherfucker.
Is that what you told Appalachian State a few years ago when they almost came in there and beat you?
Now, Doug, I see
Did you
what
tell them the
told
same
me
thing?
About, hey, Doug,
Yeah.
I see what you
I
told
mean, Christ,
me
you
about,
barely beat Charlotte a couple years ago.
Defense.
Actually,
I
last year.
see what you told me, Doug, about Jeremy Pruitt's defense now. I see what you told
Pruitt's
me.
defense.
Okay.
And you was right. So I'm going to tell you one goddamn thing. You come to Knoxville now, you better pack your goddamn lunch.
We'll pack our lunch.
When I come to Knoxville, I'm definitely packing a lunch.
Yeah.
We would absolutely.
Because I'm afraid all the shit that I've talked about Tennessee, they're probably going to poison me if I'm up there.
Tennessee would be down 49-0 at halftime if they had played us.
Sorry, that was, we were just practicing for the outro right there.
That's who done got his
Hey,
ass
Doug. Hey, Doug. This guy's a fan of a team who can't even beat Georgia State, who can barely beat Charlotte at home.
All you gotta do is add them up.
1998, Alex. Just
I
remember.
will, 41-38.
Never forget.
Big Ten National Championship.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
I'm really good at adding.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you one thing, buddy. You was right. You about old Jeremy Pruitt. You was right. You come to goddamn Knoxville at night now, you better pack your goddamn lunch. You better believe that.
Alabama
you
would
better
destroy
believe
them.
that, buddy.
Everybody would destroy them.
You better believe that, Doug, big buddy.
Tennessee
I tell
can
you, you
barely
better
win
pack
the
your
SEC.
goddamn lunch.
And you know what's funny? If Tennessee came to the Big Ten, they'd do even worse
Oh,
because
shut
they'd have to
up.
play
I don't
actual
wanna hear no
defense.
goddamn- I don't wanna hear no
They'd have to play
goddamn
actual
Yankee
defense.
dumbass talk. I don't want to hear no Yankee dumbass. I don't want to hear no goddamn dumbass Yankee talk. But
I'd
anyway,
love Tennessee to play one year in the Big Ten because
Doug,
they get their ass
hey,
beat.
Doug,
They wouldn't even beat
hey,
Rutgers.
Doug,
Yay.
Doug.
Yay.
Did y'all see what them goddamn Tennessee Titans done today, big buddy?
I did not. What happened?
Man, go and watch that goddamn game. They played the Chiefs today. You talking about a wild-ass crazy game. My first cousin, Stoney, was down there. I didn't get a chance to go because I had those shit I had to do. But they beat them son bitches down there, and that was one of the best goddamn football games I have seen in 20 goddamn years.
Alex, did you see
Now
it?
watch it on the damn ESPN. As my Big Ten
I'm
buddy
sorry,
right
I
there
can't hear
says,
your question.
ESPNC or whatever the fuck they say. Because they so goddamn jealous of the SEC. They so goddamn jealous, Doug. It ain't even funny. They are the
Really
jealous
are,
motherfuckers I've ever in my life.
The defending champ isn't even from the SEC. Why are we jealous? I don't get it. There's nothing to be jealous of.
Okay, all right.
We're watching the perennial power of the SEC, the only one that's carried your conference the last 10 years. We're watching them dwindle away.
All I gotta say is since 1990.
All I gotta say is, let me tell you something, brother.
Add 'em up, you bitch. That's all
Add 'em
I
up.
gotta say.
41-38. I added up just fine.
Since 1990.
Wake me up when you win more natties than our
I'll tell you
conference.
how many you got.